Okay, welcome to the Lenovo Duet EDU G2 teardown video. Okay, so this is the Lenovo Duet EDU G2 model. And actually what's nice about this is this little 2-in-1 tablet style is it actually has a detachable keyboard. So I'm just gonna lift up here and you'll notice this comes apart, so it's a tablet. And then when I set it back down, boom, it snaps in. On the back, it's got this little kickstand here, so you can actually see there's a little side tab here that you can lift up, and you have an adjustable kickstand for this Chromebook. Now, at first glance, you'll say, man, that thing is tiny. And it is slightly smaller than a normal Chromebook. But in reality, I've got a, let's just pull out the Dell here, which you'll see in a future video. If you open the screen on this Dell, which has a large screen, you'll notice it actually has a very large bezel here. So when held side by side, the screens are actually almost identical in size, okay? So it isn't really as tiny as you would think at first glance. It is physically smaller, and like I said, you can use it as a tablet or a 2-in-1 style computer. The keyboard's nice. It functions just like a normal keyboard. It automatically detects the tablet as soon as it's plugged in, as soon as it's docked. If you try to switch keyboards, it throws up a warning message that says this is a different keyboard, therefore someone may be trying to steal your information. So you do know if you switch keyboards, but any keyboard does work. You can just delete that message. On the top of it, you notice there's a shutter right here that actually opens and closes the camera on the front. You have a spot for a pen on the side. Now, I do want to point out, when you order this computer, all right, go on Lenovo's website, you can check it out. It says it's a 2-in-1. It is a downright lie. It is not a 2-in-1, okay? You get the tablet and the tablet only. You get the charging cord, which is a downside because the charging cord for this thing is barely 3 foot long. So you can see I've actually got another model here, which is the Duet Gen 10, I believe. It's got the charging cord. It barely reaches from the desk to here. All right, it's just USB-C. It's got kind of like a power adapter like you'd think for a phone. It's 20 watts power adapter. It does charge fairly fast and holds the charge for a long time. I mean, I haven't had an issue with that, but those cords are just tiny. They drive me up a wall. I tried to use a generic 6-foot cord. It didn't work. It put this in low power mode. So I've got to find out what the spec is on that USB-C cable. But just note that it does come with a short cord and you only get the tablet. You do not get this pen. You do not get the keyboard. You do get the keyboard and the pen with this model, but this model is not rugged. You see there's no rubber. This back case actually kicks off. It's essentially the same device, but this one's got a nice rubber case all the way around it. All right, so to start this teardown video, first let's cover the ports on this thing. So I'm gonna shut this up, pick it up. We've got the top has our shutter, has our volume buttons right here. And you'll notice there's a USB-C port on this right-hand side here, okay? Nothing on the left. The bottom's just where you connect the keyboard. And then we got our speaker, we got our headphone jack, and another USB-C port. So essentially you have 2 USB-C ports on this device, and that is it. There is nothing underneath this keyboard. It's just magnetic, okay? So that's it. So how does this thing come apart? Well, this rubber housing, this comes off. So I'm gonna take this off. I'm gonna pause this video while I do that. Okay, I should mention before I take this rubber housing off, there is 2 little screws right here. They look like Torx screws that seem to be holding the housing on. Actually, change that. There's 3 screws that hold this housing on. So I'm going to remove those 3 screws first, okay? All right, so the 3 screws are out. These are indeed Torx screws. They're TR3s, T3s, so you can actually remove those. Now to pop off the case. All right, so that case came off just like you would think. You pop off this bottom left-hand corner and then work your way around this way, and then it'll slide out. It is very, very stiff, so it's not easy to get out. And that leaves you with this tablet here, and you can see it's just basically a Lenovo tablet. So the next step is to pop this screen off. Now, if I'm looking at this right, it's got this little line here, right here. That looks like where the spudger would go in and work around the screen. So I'm going to do that, and I'll stop back and show you this little next step. And hopefully I don't damage this new computer before I get to damage the computer during drop testing. So let's see how it goes. Okay, so I wanted to come back and show you kind of, because I'm not showing you step by step, I'm showing you what I'm doing. I did just slide that spudger in. I'm sliding around. You can see the screen is actually coming apart. Now, please bear with me. I'm doing this one-handed, but I wanted you to kind of see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of working this corner, and you can kind of hear the clips coming off. Okay, so I want to finish this. All right, so I did go ahead and I'm gonna try to turn this power off. Had it off and it came back on. Oh, it's a volume button. There's my power button. Here it is, way up top. Actually, that looks like I was pressing the wrong button. Let's hold this. Shut down. Okay, so that is the power button, volume buttons up here. Okay, anyways, I got this taken apart now. I'm gonna look up here, and boom, I'm gonna lift this tablet up, flip this around, and you can see right here's my digitizer. It's actually really nice. Comes apart really easy, and it's connected with a cable. So I'm gonna kind of lay this up. Okay, I'm gonna unhook this real quick so we can actually get a better look at it. All right, so there we go. The digitizer is separated. You see it says LCD right here. Again, digitizer and screen is all in one, glued together, so there's no separating that. You buy the whole piece at once. Okay, nothing special about that, just a screen. I just unclipped this little clip right there. I use my spudger. This little clip right there. Just lifted that up and that came right off. Took the piece of little Mylar tape there, got rid of it. So inside we have, right here, is the USB-C port and the headphone jack right there, which is nice because this is one of our USB-C ports. I can actually change out this board by the look of it with just these 2 screws. And if they bust the headphone jack, guess what? I can actually replace just that without replacing the whole motherboard. I don't know about you, but the 2 things that we get broken the most is the headphone jack and the USB-C ports where they charge the computer. This is the most convenient port to charge, which is more than likely the one they're going to use. Makes this board easy swap out. Should be fairly simple as long as we can get parts for this. Should be fairly simple to replace that and fix that without having to order a whole new motherboard. So that is a big win in my book for this particular model here. Okay, right here we have the speaker. Okay, so the speaker cable runs along this and plugs in right here. Okay, that's nice. There is a second speaker on the opposite side. I will tell you from testing, this thing is loud and it sounds really, really, really nice. Okay. Interesting. So this seems to be one of the Wi-Fi. I don't know. That looks like that's a Wi-Fi antenna. And over here is also a Wi-Fi antenna, which is a little bit different. But yeah, I don't know what this big block is here. I mean, it's definitely Wi-Fi, but I wonder if it has something to do with something else too. The battery's right here. Battery, I will try to take out in a few minutes. From the looks of it, the cable wraps up and plugs in here. There's a screw here that lets them know that you're in it. So you take this screw off and lift this. This is where we're going to unhook our battery. My question is that battery glued in? I'm not seeing any screws. I see a spot where they could have screwed it, but they didn't. So do we have adhesive on here? If we do, that could be a pain in the butt. Over here, we've got our motherboard, okay? Our speaker cable runs under this Mylar piece. And we've got a ribbon cable up here that connects to the camera. Okay, if you can see that. And another ribbon cable here. Actually, they both look like they run to the camera for some reason. It's kind of hard to see here. But if I zoom in, you can see that underneath they both run to that camera. So I don't know if that's a two-piece. And then we've got this little, our separate volume and power board up here. So if we need to change these buttons out, there's just a ribbon cable that connects them. So that's completely replaceable. And then we have a ribbon cable here. Okay. So let's dig in a little bit deeper and see what we got here. I mean, so far it looks okay. This is kind of concerning me a little bit. I hope I don't have to mess with a bunch of glue. Let's find out. I'm going to take that out now. All right, so we're back. All I did was take out this screw right here. Just a regular little teeny tiny Phillips screw. Okay, all these screws, if you can't tell, are very tiny. Smaller heads than normal Chromebooks I've dealt with. So I took that screw out. Now I'm going to just take my spudger and lift this up. If you look real close here, there's a catch right there, and then it's wedged under here. So we're just going to lift up this right side. I'm just going to kind of tilt it that way, and then this should actually just slide out here, just like that. Okay, done, done, done. Set that aside. And right here is my battery connector. So we're just going to rock this up. That disconnects my battery. Now the moment of truth, the moment I've been waiting for and dreading. Is this glued down? It's not moving very easily. I'm going to try to get something under it and see if it's glued. All right, people. So unfortunately, the answer to our question of, is it glued? Yes, it is glued. And I'm sitting here wondering, why, Lenovo, why? Why would you glue this thing down? Stupid companies. See, the problem isn't just that they glued it down. We can get the glue off. Okay, so I have some heat pads and stuff I can use to pull this off. The problem is we routed cabling. Okay, this is your battery. Here's your motherboard cabling running down into your board, and this cabling is run down to this board. We ran cables underneath this battery. Now, the chances of these cabling going bad is slim to none, okay, unless you damage the cable when you're taking this thing apart. But why? You could have just put a tiny screw here, tiny screw up here where you've got screw joints. Just add a little bit more plastic and do that. That would have been so much easier to take this thing out. It does have this little rubber piece right here that's holding down that cable. And from what I can tell, there looks to be like a glue strip here and right around here. So it looks like two just glue strips. It's not like the whole thing's glued in. But this will be a pain in the butt to fix batteries. And if you've worked with student computers for any length of time that you're going to keep around for a long period of time, you're going to replace batteries. So this was just a big no-no. Gosh, it really makes you rethink buying one of these just because they did not make that battery easily to replace. I mean, if you were going to use glue, they could have done like a command strip style where you just pull it out. I've seen that on other Lenovo Duet models, but boy, they didn't do that. Okay, so that is glued in, just so you know. Earlier I had mentioned this piece up here, which is just two screws. Okay, that is actually our camera on the other side. So this is our camera cable. So just two screws there underneath that. And let's just show you what that looks like. Why? Because we're already in here. Why not? Okay, so I'll just take that out. Take this out. Okay. I got these two screws. Boom, boom, boom. I'll lift this up. And there's our camera. Okay, so that just pops out of there. Rip one ribbon cable. Nothing spectacular. Nothing super hard about that. that back on later. Okay, and then underneath this Mylar right here, if we were to lift this up, which I'll probably do a little bit of damage when I do this. Okay, just peel that back a little bit. You see right here is your just little clip-in style for this speaker. So you just go up under here and pop that up. And that's it. Up here we've got 2 screws for our hold down our USB-C port, but that is on board. Okay, so that if you're taking your motherboard out, you'd have to do that. That's built onto the motherboard, so this USB-C isn't replaceable without replacing our whole main board. Okay, so essentially that's it in a nutshell. So the digitizer was easy to take off. All these parts are fairly easy to take off. The battery is a big pain in the butt for me. I hate it. I'm just going to be real honest. That was a dumb move on Lenovo's part. Just about as dumb as advertising a 2-in-1 when you only get a tablet. You have to buy the keyboard separate. You don't get the pen, it's optional. However, for about the same price, actually less, cheaper, you get the whole unit with everything in it. Okay? And my understanding, maybe I'll do this one just to be sure, but this one has an easily replaceable battery, while the student one that you're about to give to students doesn't. Okay? So, enough of my rampage. Let me reassemble this. And here we are again, fully assembled, nice and neat. Everything went back together, piece of cake, no big issues. Okay, so final thoughts on the Lenovo Duet G2 EDU. All right, overall, this is kind of a Chromebook I kind of love and hate at the same time. As far as a student Chromebook, it feels very, very durable. As a matter of fact, this feels like it will take a lot to break it. We'll find out because I'm going to do a breakage video on it. I like the detachable keyboard. I think that gives a lot of flexibility in the classroom. It does concern me a little bit that if I pick it up and just kind of wiggle it, the keyboard can come detached. Okay. I also do get this critical update. Need to restart periodically when I get it. Now that could be because this actual keyboard, I told you it doesn't come separate. I stole it from a device that looks like this. Everything that I read says it's the exact same keyboard. I don't know that for certain. I do have the exact same keyboard ordered, the one that goes with this model. I'm 95% sure it's the exact same keyboard though. I can't find another one listed on their site. Overall, the 2 USB-C ports I think is fine. No one really used the SD card reader anymore. The headphone jack's nice. I like the fact that these are replaceable by itself because these are going to be where they charge it from and do everything from. Those are going to be the first ones to break. So I love the fact that that's replaceable. I despise the fact that the battery is glued in. Like, I really don't know what Lenovo was thinking. They're just straight up stupid. Let's be honest. If you're gluing batteries in to laptops, to computers, you're stupid. All right. If any manufacturer sees this or anybody to design in computers, you're stupid. Don't glue things in. It makes it a nightmare, especially a student device where we know we have to replace these because we're going to keep them for a while. Okay. All right. Other than that, overall, I kind of really do like this. I mean, I don't know if I can get over a couple of the shortcomings it has with the short power cable and with the battery. That's really driving me nuts. But it feels fast. It benchmarks well. We'll wait and see what the drop test. If I can get parts for this and I can get that battery out easier, I come up with an easy method to get that battery out. Man, this is going to be a hard pass up for me. I mean, I really, really, really do like this computer. Okay. So that's my final thoughts. Hope this video helps you out. Thanks.